Hi guys, I'm TJ and you're watching the Asia Motorsports Hour.
A Philippines motorsport family feature heavily in this week's Asia Motorsport Hour. There's Dad, Toti Alberto, owner of the Team Access Plus racing team from Manila, a team that features his own sons.
Troy got into Asia Talent Cup. TJ got a ride in Italy with Ducati.
And this is Timothy Joseph, or TJ, speaking of his own racing ambitions.
I'm not happy to just be a point scorer. I really want to be up there in front with the top guys.
Plus, we have the Idemitsu Inquest, looking back and forward to the racing calendar. Timothy Joseph Alberto, better known as TJ, is one of the few Filipino road racers who've taken their skills beyond the Philippines. The two-time intermediate Philippines national champion spent a season racing in Italy and followed that with a campaign at world level, racing at Superstock 1000, where he was regularly challenging for a top 10 slot. In 2021, with the support of Access Plus racing team, TJ is preparing for his third season with the Asia Road Racing Championship. And TJ, welcome to the Idemitsu Asia Motorsports Hour. First question, what are your realistic ambitions for the Asia Road Racing season in 2021, still riding the Ducati?
Hi Des, yeah, it's great to be here. Great to see you again. So 2021 will be the third season. We had a shortened second season in 2020. So I'm going to be riding again with the same team as last year, the Access Plus Racing Ducati team sponsored by Okada Manila. With a good season in 2019, it was just the first year for not only me, but also the whole team. I'm really looking forward to continue to improve on what we've learned and hopefully get closer to the podium.
How competitive can you be? Because on the Ducati, the team hasn't got a podium. I think your best position was you got a 7th or 6th or 7th. So how competitive can you make this bike?
Despite the situation last year and this year with the COVID, we actually think that we're on a better foot for 2021 as we've been focusing on developing the bike. We've had some struggles in terms of the electronic side of the bike. The chassis side, we've understood it quite well, but we're lacking on the electronics in 2020. So we're focused now on upgrading the electronics of the bike so that we can get a better result for the coming season.
I just want to take you a little bit back in your career. You spent a season racing in Italy and then in World Superstock. What lessons did you pick up in those 2 seasons abroad?
Yeah, well, in my first season racing in the Italian Superbike Championship, that was in 2017. I was quite young. I was still, I think, 18. So I just came off the Philippine Championship, and as a young rider, it was really an eye-opener to be riding with top Italian riders who some of them were ex-World Superbike riders, some even like Michele Piro is a MotoGP test rider. So the level was very, very, very high, and it was really my first experience racing outside of my country. So it was quite an eye-opener, and it's also quite a humbling experience because racing just in the national championship, I know that I can win, I can get podium quite easily. But racing there, I was, really 3-4 seconds back on my first race, I remember. So it was such a great experience, and I learned so much.
You mentioned the Philippines Championship is competitive, the likes of Watanabe, Razulio, yourself, of course. Why don't we see more Filipinos do like you did and go and try your hand abroad?
Yeah, it's also a shame because we have quite a lot of good Filipino riders, and unfortunately, those guys who I've raced with in the Superbike class, they're the last generation from me, so they're a little bit older than me, and unfortunately, they weren't able to get the chance to race in the Asia Road Racing Championship, for example. But it's good that now we can see other riders, such of course my brother Troy, McKinney Calpaz. Also, some of the guys in the underbones, that we're starting to see a lot of new Filipino and young talent in the Asia Championship. So I'm really happy to see that.
You mentioned your brother Choi, and your dad, of course, is the team owner and team manager. It's very much a family affair. How competitive is it between yourself and Troy?
Oh yeah, it's really competitive. I mean, before I left for the European circuits, we would compete together in the national championship in the superbikes. So if they say that your teammate is your number one competitor, your brother is even more so. I mean, from the minute we wake up when we go training, whether it's on the bicycle or on the motocross track, of course, it's a competition every day. So it was also good training, not only for him and also for me, but it was a good way to accelerate our training or improvement in the sport.
I look forward to seeing how you both compete in the Asia Road Racing Championships. But how are you preparing, both mentally and physically? And when was the last time you were able to get on a bike?
Well, as you know, it's been more than a year since the last Asia Road Racing event. But luckily, we've been able to do some track days. No real racing, unfortunately, here in the Philippines right now. But we've been able to do some track days. We know that that's not a replacement for real racing, but it's still a good way to get the feet wet, start to get the gears turning again, because after a year of without racing, you can get quite rusty. But it's been actually quite okay with this pandemic. I've had a little bit more time to train with my university moving on to online, so I'm able to get a little bit more hours of training in the week. So I'm feeling quite ready for the season. I'm looking forward to making the most out of the training that I've been doing this past year.
What is your realistic racing ambition, TJ? Are you good enough to win at Asia level and to genuinely compete at world level?
Yeah, when I was doing the European Superstock, the level there was quite high, and I would get into the almost into the top 10. I would be consistently scoring points. In the Asia Road Racing, we have a little bit of a smaller grid, so it's not too difficult for me to score points, but I'm not happy to just be a point scorer. I really want to be, up there in front with the top guys, like of course my teammate Federico, and of course with Zach Juan, Brock Parks, all those guys who are reaching the podium level. But if I get into the top 5, of course, first, that's my first goal. And then if I can get into the podium with our team, which is basically like a home or family team, that would be a really good achievement for me.
TJ Alberto from Access Plus Racing, Okada, Manila. When news filtered through ahead of the 2019 season that a Philippines-managed team was to compete at the Asian Road Racing Championship, there was a buzz. Welcome Access Plus Racing with sponsorship from Okada, Manila. Totti Alberto is the owner behind the team, and he had another headline in that he introduced Ducati into the pits for the Superbike season. In that 2019 campaign, TJ Alberto and Jonathan Serapica, and later Italy's Federico Sandi, accumulated a respectable 94 points. Even better, Lorenzo Zanetti picked up a 4th place finish in the one race in 2020. Ducati, this team can compete, and not just the 1000cc. At Supersport 600, Okada Manila Racing will be supporting Troy Alberto, TJ's younger brother, but racing with Honda Philippines, all of which makes a multi-headline story. And Totti Alberto joined us on the Idemitsu Asia Motorsports Hour. Totti, first let's start with the family connection. You're the owner, TJ and Troy are your racers. What caused this all-consuming racing passion to come into the Alberto family?
Okay, way back during the 90s, I myself raced the Philippine rounds of Asian Road Racing that time. And of course, when I had kids, I had to stop racing, which, everyone has a family. And then they started racing motocross, okay? And then from there on, we were able to get sponsors because they were winning, and they knew how to do public relations, and they were very saleable, in other words. And yeah, Troy got into Asia Talent Cup. He was one of the the only Filipino to get into the top 10 in Asia Talent Cup. TJ got a ride in Italy with Ducati for Italian Championship. And afterwards, he even did the Stock 1000 in World Superbikes. So we were in the map. And then we got Ducati support for doing the Asia series. So we're very happy. I mean, it fell into place, thank God, and we're doing okay. We're doing okay.
Ducati was coming into the Asian Road Racing Championship was headline news. Do you see more opportunities for Ducati in Asia?
Well, yeah. Because when we came in, we had or immediately got premium sponsors to help us. They were very happy to be associated with the brand, Okada being one. So I think if we continue this, we will have more and more involvement with sponsors or maybe other teams to run Ducati. I mean, for a first-time team and getting into the top five, fourth the highest, I think we're doing good enough. So hopefully for the next seasons, we will be having more and more Ducati involvement in Asia Road Race.
Can I ask about the Italian connection? You said TJ raced over in Italy, but you've also had Federico Sandi and Zanetti coming over racing for you. What is that Italian link?
Federico Sandi was actually TJ's teammate in the World Stock 1000, which is run together with World Superbikes. So we did all the European rounds in World Superbike, Stock 1000, and Sandy won the last race. I think it was in Jerez, I think. But anyway, what happened was we got partial Ducati sponsorship to be able to join that. And then if you know Sandy, he was rider coach to World Moto2 champion for Italtrans. So Italtrans is also our sponsor way back in Italian Superbike. So it's all interrelated. So we're very happy to be given that window or that opportunity to have sponsors in an international series. And we were able to bring them to Asia. So that's a good plus for us.
So for 2021, can you release your lineup for us?
Well, for 2021, the Ducati riders will be, again, Federico Sandi, and then my son, PJ Alberto, and then for Honda Philippines, we're going to have Troy Alberto.
And your expectations for those lineups this season, both at Superbike and Supersport 600, Toti?
Okay, for Superbikes, we'd like to have a podium because during the last race, we were in the podium for the last 0.2 of a second on the line. We ran out of fuel, so we lost third by 0.2 of a second, 0.1 of a second. So I think the podium is very close. And then for the 600s, Troy was able to do podium in the Thai Talent Cup in Buriram. So as a rider, I think he would be very capable. So we're hoping with the new 2021 Honda CBR, we will be competitive enough to get a podium for Troy.
We get opinion and comments after the break and look ahead to the start of the All Japan Championship. Very warm welcome back to the Idemitsu Asia Motorsports Hour. Straight on to the Idemitsu Inquest, where we look back at racing that has taken place over the weekend just gone and look forward to next week. The director of TWMR, Ron Hogg, is alongside me to talk us through. And first topic is MotoGP, Ron, where Nakagami non-classified in MotoGP itself, and Moto2 problems both for Somkiat and also for Hafiz, neither able to finish the race.
Yeah, it's a long season. I think it's the first race. I think Somkiat was doing quite well, and he was in the points fighting between 10 and 15. And I think there was an incident where he was bumped off, and probably in his eagerness to get back into the points, made a mistake. I think it was like the second last lap or something of that sort. I think with Hafiz, he's with a new team, new chassis as well. He will need time, and from the testing season, we could see that he was every day improving with the bike. So we'll see. It's a long season, 20 more races to go. We hope for the best for them. But I'm expecting Somkiat to be sort of in the points always this year.
Into Moto3, Andy Farid, another one who finished the race but down in 21st place. Are we expecting better from the Indonesian?
I think with Andy, because he's just moved back from Moto2 to Moto3, and it will take some time to get back used to that speed. They feel that he's a much better rider in Moto3, and if you look at the lap times, he's not way off. You know, it's just a question of improving here and there a little bit for him to be more competitive. So I expect Andy to be in the points as well.
As for the Japanese, 3 of them in the points: Suzuki on the Honda, Tuba and Yamanaka on the KTMs, all in the top 14, 2 of them in the top 10.
Yeah, good display. I think Toba really showed that he was something to prove, coming into its 4th season maybe now. And with Suzuki, he didn't do any tests. He was COVID positive when he arrived, so he had the least practice. He started from the back of the grid, and to finish in the points, I think was an excellent race for him for round 1. And next week they'll all be racing in the same circuit again, so with more data on hand, probably we'll expect to see better results, I guess, for the riders.
And staying in Qatar, the Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup also had its first 2 races of the season. Japanese won 2 in both races. Tayo Furusato picking up victories in both, but 2 podium finishes for Malaysia's Hakim Danish, Ron.
Yeah, I think excellent debut for him. He's a rookie, complete rookie. He's 13 years old, 14 years old. And to finish ahead of his more established senior riders, Malaysian riders who are riding together in ADC, shows that he's got the talent, and hopefully he will flourish into the rider we all want him to be.
Staying with Malaysians, Daniel and Sharul. Sharul, both in the top 10, in fact, both in the top 8 in both races.
Yeah, I think both Daniel and Sharul performed quite well as well. Again, in this particular class, with all the bikes being the same, the riders need to strategize their attack mode, when to attack, when to follow. I mean, we had the first guy who literally rode on his own, but it was a tough battle between the 2nd to 8th position in that sense. So again, it's the first race. Next weekend, we'll see again if they can keep up that consistency. And I think for a championship, you need to have that consistency to be in the top 3 at the end of the season.
For Indonesia, Herlian Dandi, not a great performance for the Indonesian racers. 2 top 11 finishes. Should we be expecting more?
I think so. I think they qualified 2nd on the grid or 3rd on the grid. They were fast, but maybe in race 1 there was a rash mistake. He was trying to follow the leader and he crashed out and took out another guy. And again, I think it comes with experience, and a lot of these guys have not really raced for over a year competitively. So you give them time, and we'll be able to see if these riders can perform.
Moving further north, up in Motegi, the All Japan season is close to starting. They had a testing weekend at Motegi where there were 3 days of testing. Ron, talk us through testing and what teams and riders are hoping to get out of the 3 days.
I think with testing, it's very important for teams to get data. And basically, it's all about getting the best setup for the bike to prepare them for the race weekend. So there are many things that you can't do during a race weekend because you've got limited practice, limited tire that you can utilize, and more importantly, weather. So when it comes to testing, it's an opportunity to try all kind of possibilities, long runs, short runs, attack mode, and I think testing has become so important. I mean, you see it in all championships. With testing, they are able to bring this data to perform the best during the race weekend.
7 venues in the All Japan Championship. They'll be starting at Motegi, but it's arguably the peak, the creme de la creme of Asian road racing.
Yeah, the All Japan Championship has a rich heritage. I think it's been around for more than 40 years or so. It's produced countless brilliant riders, over the years. And I think it's going through sort of a transition stage at this moment because the world of motorsports has changed tremendously. It's all very world championship at this moment. And you don't really have solid national championships around. I think All Japan is one of that you can look up to. And they've tried to change the classes as well. So they started ST1000 last year, which is the class we run in the Asian Championship and we follow closely. And we are hoping that the championship can continue to produce more riders because you really need a national championship. And more importantly, there's only so many riders that can go on to the next level. But you need the industry to keep booming. So the national championship is very, very important.
One little tweak that they have done, though, they've changed the numbering system. We're so used to riders being able to take their numbers wherever they go. In the All Japan, they've now said you're on last season's positions.
It used to be the case, back in the 80s where riders in the top 10 position, and it's still in the championship regulation. Riders for the Asian Championship, the first 10 riders can choose that number or choose their own number. So I feel this is, for some particular reason in Japan, they've decided to go back to this ruling. Perhaps, I think from a very simple perspective of informing the public, when they look at these are the top 10 guys from last year, just looking at the numbers. Not everybody knows this guy is 22, this guy is 25. So it's not a wrong thing, I feel. But, again, anytime you make a change, there will be an uproar.
Round 2 of Malaysia's Capri Championship takes place this weekend at the Sepang North Circuit. They were at the South a couple of weeks ago. Ron Hogg, once again, the Capri, so important in developing local talent.
Yes, it's the main national championship that we have in Malaysia. It's very important to ensure it continues on a competitive level and to have all its support. It's been the main platform in providing all the Malaysian riders that we have moving forward.
In round 1, Muzakir won his first race after 10 years of trying. That shows that there is quite a depth of talent in this championship.
Well, I think with the races now organized at Sepang in a full circuit, I mean, we've seen this in underbone racing in ARRC where it's all bunched up together. They're all pretty much 1 to 15 within a second. And again, I think it's strategy. Even in the Asian Championship, even though the races are so close, finally, if you look at the winners, it's always about the same guys. So I feel there is, it's a mental barrier for Muzaki to have done it, and maybe he will go on stronger after this to produce more such results for the team.
In the 125cc category, though, last year's champion got off to a winning start. Shafiq Grosley showed real form. He was a dominant performer in 125 last week.
I think with Shafiq as well, he's now probably coming with the positive vibes of winning the championship from last year. So he was very much in control of the race. It was very close, but finally, at the right moment, he managed to make the decisive attack to have that gap to finish first. So again, he's, in my opinion, a very aggressive rider. So again, hopefully, let's see what he does for the season.
Thanks to Ron Hogg. That's the analysis of what's coming ahead in the week. We will have highlights of Capri in next week's show and the start of the All Japan Championship. You are watching the Idemitsu Asia Motorsports Hour. After the break, we look back at the moment Asia Road Racing was warned that they have to take the challenge from the Philippines seriously.
talked a little bit about MotoGP technology, but Ducati have just taken another step forward. Let's have a look at the V4R Panigale. This thing really is straight off of a MotoGP race circuit. It's got a V4 engine, the only V4 here in the paddock, and it is just built for speed.
And we're going to go further down to new face in the ASB 1000 grid this weekend, all the way from Italy, Lorenzo Zanetti. Lorenzo, your first weekend here with the Asian Championship, how has everything been going with the team?
Yeah, it's not too bad. Of course, I need to learn the new tire and electronic standard system, because in Europe I race with a superbike. I'm a test rider with the superbike spec, so it's a little bit difficult to adjust the setting for the electronic standard. There is a big gap compared Yamaha and BMW, but so anyway the engine is strong, so maybe if the weather is still dry, I think we can fight for the podium. I hope so.
On the next row behind them, you've got TJ Alberto. We saw his brother Troy racing in the previous race in the 600cc. TJ is in his second season as well. He is on the other Ducati, teammate of Lorenzo Zanetti. The lights go on, and when they are off, we will be underway for a 12-lap race, and Reiterberger is off to a very good start. Also from P4, Yuki Ito has made a flying start as well. Bike number 76, Brock Parks, just tucks in behind, and the Kawasaki's have made a heck of a drive from P8 up to P4. I think that is Titipong Guadacon who's got there.
Yeah, good start by Marcus Reiterberger. He got 4 or 5 bike lengths down that straight already, so very impressive off the line was Marcus Reiterberger. With Brock Parks, a good comeback start for him.
But as they come across the start-finish line at the end of lap number 1, Reiterberger has established a 1.4 second lead from Apiwat Parks and Anupam Sarmoon. That's a stunning start from the German.
Look at Lorenzo Zanetti as well. Zanetti's coming in the background there. He's on to the back now of Anupam Sarmoon, and I've got to say I'm really impressed with Anupam Sarmoon. Great job yesterday in the wet, but he's backing it up in the dry.
Farid Badrul has got himself up ahead of Rasuki Owato. Owato's going backwards. The best of the Kawasaki's currently in P6. That's Titipong. That's in the lime green livery, just going through. Behind Lorenzo Zanetti, in front of him is Anupam and Brock Parks. So Parks is under pressure here for P3. Never mind chasing P2, Parks is under pressure for P3.
Yeah, he certainly is. The pressure's there. It's also coming from the Access Plus Racing Okada team rider, Lorenzo Zanetti, who's joined the back of that group. I spoke with Zanetti, and he seemed to think that he could get on the podium here today.
The lead for Reiterberger as he goes through, he's gone 2.33 seconds. We are not used to seeing this kind of a lead. Second, Apiwat Parks holding on to third, Zanetti up into P4.
Yeah, Zanetti doing what he said he was going to be able to do, but it's a matter of how that bike will handle towards the end of the race. Remember, it's still got the standard ECU. Perhaps this circuit might work out for him, but there's also a question mark on whether he can make the distance due to the fuel. Like the fuel tank on that bike's not big enough. He actually ran out of fuel yesterday. The bike started spluttering in the wet, so interesting to see what happens there.
That is still 10 laps away though, but Zanetti has certainly made a mark here. The Italian number 87. He's got himself up into P4. Next available target for him is the rear wheel of Brock Parks. The 39-year-old Aussie is very aware of the pressure coming on behind him. In the meantime, Zanetti has got himself into P3, and Parks is under pressure from Anupam Sarmoon. Parks on the Yamaha, as is Anupam Sarmoon, Yamaha Thai racing team.
I think it looks like Zanetti is towing the other two Yamaha guys back up to Apiwat as well. That gap is certainly coming down, but you can see the rear of the Ducati sliding as they get hard on the gas. Down the hill they go.
Good to see the Europeans bringing their A-game to the Asia Road Racing Championship. All that can do is help the local riders realise that, heck, we really got to compete. P2 at the moment. Belongs to Apiwat Wongtananon, but he is under pressure from the Ducati, the powerful Ducati of Zanetti, and Zanetti has a look on the inside as Reiterberger goes through. Zanetti into second place. Reiterberger 1, Zanetti 2. Apiwat tries to look back on the inside, but that was terrific from Lorenzo Zanetti. Saw the chance and took it.
Yeah, well, we said that Ducati had a lot of power, and you can just see there, look at that P2, nervous in the pit box there, and boy, what a great job by Lorenzo Zanetti to work his way through the pack. Marcus Reiterberger is gone, but the race is on in earnest there. Look at that from second place all the way back down to Tigipong Warracorn in 8th place. Nose to tail, what a big group of riders we've got. Yeah, Aslan Shah's just moved himself up into 3rd position now, so pretty impressive movement by him. And as we know, that Ducati, with all that power, it does start to eat the tyre up towards the end of the race. And the team are happy with that, aren't they?
They're thrilled to bits with that because he's taken Lorenzo Zanetti. Zanetti forced outwards. This is Aslan Shah saying, I am showing who is the boss today, my friend.
He said he was going to show who the boss was, and I'll tell you what, he's showing who the boss is right now, and the boss is Aslan Shah.
This is my land. This is Malaysia, says Aslan Shah. Well, Reiterberger's in Germany. That's a long way away, but Lorenzo Zanetti just got a bit of Aslan.
And Apiwat's gone back through now. Apiwat wants a little bit of action as well, as Anupap Samoon's also got past Brock Parks there. Brock Parks is struggling back down there in about 6th position at the moment.
Well, you did say that Zanetti might begin to struggle a little bit on his soft compound back tyre. The medium compound will wear a little bit, but surely it's a bit early in the race for Zanetti to be feeling the impact of those soft.
No, I think what it is that Ducati makes that much power. It's not. I think he's actually got the medium compound compared to the soft compound guys, but because he's spinning up so much, he just finds it harder to control that bike as the race goes on. Oh no, we've got a faller. That is
Aslan Shah.
Well, it's either Aslan Shah, it's one of the 1XOX BMWs. One of the 1X, it can't be the leader. That's Aslan Shah.
Aslan Shah goes out, frustrated with himself. Aslan Shah, Kamruzaman, had got himself into P2, had really ridden an excellent race. It would have been sensational if it was Reiterberger, but Reiterberger has been absolutely perfect so far. It means that Apiwat Wongtananon will move into P2 and he'll drag Zanetti up potentially to a podium place. You spoke too soon about that BMW one.
Oh, another faller. That Zanetti's gone down. Zanetti's gone down on the last lap. It's TJ, is it? That's 2 crashes for TJ this weekend. Oh my. Oh.
You had everybody panicking with the Zanetti one there. Same colours, same livery. TJ Alberto 77, Lorenzo Zanetti 87, and that's Lorenzo Zanetti just at the moment holding on to a place on the podium. This is the race leader, Reiterberger, going through. Apiwat second. The battle for P3 is the one that really interests us. Lorenzo Zanetti has got himself in a good position. Parks has a look as they go up the hill. Zanetti drives away from the Australian.
Yeah, Parks is trying hard now. You can just see that body language. He was right on the back wheel of Zanetti there. Zanetti pulled away a little bit, but Parks tighter on the exit there. It looks like Apiwat with nothing to worry about in second, but this is where the fight is between these two guys for the last spot on the podium. And I'm sure that Brock Parks would love to stand on that top step. Does he take the inside line? This is a corner that hasn't been too kind to him this weekend. It's all going to come down to the final corner. On the drive, he needs to get into the slipstream of that big booming Ducati. A rider off to the left-hand side of the track there, just keeping out of harm's way. Brock goes up the inside. He's hard on the brakes. Brock's making the move, but Zanetti's tight. Brock runs a little bit wide. Zanetti's loose. Brock around the outside. This could come through. Reiterberger's going to win.
Reiterberger takes it. Apiwat second. Zanetti is able to hold on for P3. No, Parks has gone around the outside in sensational manner. Zanetti cannot believe it. I cannot believe it. Brock Parks for P3.
I reckon he ran out of fuel over the line.
Wow.
I know that fuel was a problem for them. To miss out, we'll find out, but I reckon that's what happened. I know it was an issue for them in the wet, so in the dry, boy.
Well, you know, that's really sad. we tried to conserve fuel as much as we can because during testing, we were at the limit of fuel. But it's so heartbreaking that we actually lost it 100 feet from the finish. So it's very sad, but you know, for 2021, we're praying, we're counting on getting new electronics to get us into the podium. But for our part, imagine we have a all-stock Ducati V4R and we almost got into the podium. So think about how we will do with a good computer.
Ten questions now with TJ Alberto. TJ, what is your first memory of racing?
My first memory of racing is in motocross for sure. I started as a junior, 4 years old. So good times.
What is your best favorite racing memory?
I think my favorite racing memory should be my first race in the Italian Superbike because it's the first time that I got to race outside of my home country.
From the highs to the lows, what is your least favorite memory?
Well, I'm sure the lows are always when I'm in a good position and I crash out. Hopefully we don't get more of those soon.
Do you have a favorite racing rival, be it in the Philippines or on the Asia or world stage, a favorite rival to race against?
I think if I were to choose a favorite rival, it would be my brother. It's really fun to race against my brother, and we can be quite aggressive. We play quite a lot. It's always good to race against him, and there's no hard feelings after.
Before a race, do you have any superstitions?
Superstitions? I don't think so. At least none that I've noticed, but I'm sure there are.
What's your favorite racing track?
I think one of my favorite tracks right now is one that's also in the Asia calendar. It's the Bend. Great track, very twisty, a lot of up and down. Really fun, like a roller coaster.
Obviously, as an athlete, you have to look after your diet, but if you were allowed a cheat day, what is your favorite food?
Oh, ice cream for sure.
And your perfect holiday?
Perfect holiday, I love the beach.
Got to, in the Philippines. Finally, if there were 3 words at the end of your career, many years away, 3 words to remember TJ Alberto's career, what 3 words would you choose?
Never any regrets.
Never any regrets from TJ Alberto. Next week, the All Japan Championship will dominate the Idemitsu Asia Motorsports Hour as their season revs up in Motegi.